It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Joining us now in studio, we have State Representative Dan Sullivan is back with us. Dan, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Paul. Always good to be in.
Yes, sir. It's always good to have you. So, first of all, we got a bunch to talk about, but let's talk about what you did last night. The Friends of the NRA banquet was going on. How did that go?
That went great. They had about 300 people through the rain and the bad weather. It's kind of flooded out there in our area a little bit.
And the politicized issue right now over guns.
Yeah, true. But it had a great night last night. I was able to distribute a number of "In God We Trust" posters. You can't campaign at a rally like that. But this, again, was not campaigning. It's just sharing what Arkansans feel and the faith that Arkansans want to share in their schools to exercise their right to freedom of religion.
Yeah, and this is just to remind people, basically, if you want a poster that says "In God We Trust," you can hang it in your classrooms, right?
Yes.
In schools.
Yes, and that's part of the law now. And I think I've got an ad on the radio station.
Yes,
that
you
shares
do.
My number.
Yep.
So, just get in contact with me or your local legislator. But it's great to see people, 300 people, cheer and celebrate that.
Oh, so when you told them they cheered?
Yes, clap and gave it a round of applause, and that for they gave religious freedom a cheer. And I had several young people and adults come up who want them for their schools. I've given out about 100. I've had to order 100 more frames. I've got one school that wants 50 more, so I've got to order 100 more frames.
Wow.
So it's really going great, and it's a big point for religious freedom. The truth will win.
That's right. The truth will win. We've been focused on that this week. That's kind of the mindset we're trying to have with all these issues.
Yeah. I brought some truth with me today.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I understand that you have a letter that you wrote to the Speaker
Yes.
and had other legislators sign on to it in a response to his and Senator Dismang's letter to the governor on the special session.
Yes. And that letter from the Speaker, I'll just cover that just real briefly, but it requested, it wasn't an order, but they requested that we not bring anything up in the fiscal session to, quote, I think it says, to protect the integrity of the intent. Well, I took a little bit of exception to that because the intent is what the Constitution clearly says, is that with certain thresholds, we can bring issues up in the fiscal session. It's an exception, but Paul, if an exception is never exercised, then there is no exception.
Yeah.
So there has to be times, and there has to be a high threshold, which there is. So I spoke with the Speaker and shared my thoughts, as did several others. But I felt since that letter from the Senate Pro Tem President and the Speaker went out very publicly, and the governor responded indirectly to it publicly, that we as House members needed to respond publicly. So I thought I'd come in here this morning, and I gave a copy of this letter to the Speaker yesterday and spoke with him. And I'll read just very brief what it says. This letter that we gave to the Speaker in response to his says, "This letter is in response to your request for legislators to waive the Arkansas constitutional provisions allowing representatives seeking consideration of non-budgetary legislation to be presented if 2/3 of the members of each house of the General Assembly approve said consideration. This request circumvents representatives' constitutional rights, is an infringement upon our duties and responsibilities, and establishes an untenable precedent for future fiscal sessions. Since the letter was simply a request, we, the undersigned, decline the request and prefer to proceed in accordance with our state constitutional rights inserted in Article 5, Section 5, C2, which states, a bill other than appropriation bills may be considered in the fiscal session if 2/3 of the members of the House of the General Assembly approve consideration of the bill." So I shared.
First of all, thank you for doing that and standing up for just common sense when people I just don't think are using it very much.
Paul, and I spoke with the Speaker yesterday, and the Speaker's worked well with me and others, and I appreciate his thoughts on this. But they asked us politely, publicly, not to bring anything up. And I and others just felt like it was appropriate to politely say no, thank you, if we
Publicly.
choose publicly
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that. And in talking with the speaker, if you want to bring something up, the speaker said, Dan, if you want to bring something up, you're welcome to. And I declined at this time. So it's not like they barred us. They offered us that opportunity. But again, it was the part about if you're going to ask us publicly, then I'm going to respond publicly. My old basketball days back at ASU and maybe before that, the referee would go out there and you kind of played the game as the referee allowed you to play the game. And if one side bumped a little bit, then you bump back a little bit. And I felt like this was kind of one of those situations that there's a little bit of pressure put on legislators publicly not to respond.
Yeah, well, it was blind. It was a blindsiding move from where I am, because you have plans to attempt to get people on the record. That's not the reason for it, but that's you want people to vote and into whether or not you can get the 2/3 support to end cap Medicaid expansion to stop the enrollment. And I don't know if they want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes, you do.
and they don't want to. They don't want to do that. And so now they blindside it, and they come and they say, you know what? If we want to do other things, we'll do a special session, but we have to have 2/3 undersigned before we'll call the special session. And that's not like there's nothing in the Constitution that says that they just don't want the process to be allowed to work out. That's my theory on this, and it's frustrating because the people are being disenfranchised. The leadership is essentially trying to take y'all's power away from you, and that is wrong.
And then we'll I'm sure talk later as you have about committee assignments and all the power that we've given away. And I was part of that. I admit I voted the wrong way on that, but I hope to change that. But had the speaker and the leadership come to me, and I think others, and said, guys, we don't want you to do this during the special session. Had they done that privately or in a caucus meeting, I'd have raised my hand or said, no, thank you. But thank you for asking, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
But since it was done in a public way, I and a few others just felt like we needed to respond publicly in a polite and professional manner.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing that letter. That's really good, to actually have a formal say, thanks, but no thanks. So I've got this other document in front of me. What is this? This has got letterhead from the Arkansas House of Representatives.
Well, it's from Representative Civillo down in the Little Rock area, and I got this last night, and I'm going to have to verify these numbers, but and I can't figure out quite where he's going on this, but they basically list all the numbers of people that they have pulled off of Arkansas Works. So they said our numbers ballooned up to 340-some thousand, close to 350,000, we'll say. And the governor and DHS has been working very diligently, and I'll give that to them, to pare those numbers down. And this kind of breaks down to the number of people that we've had on Arkansas Works, and this is a point in time. So these numbers may vary at different times. So this is a snapshot of how many people they have pulled off Arkansas Works. And I'm going to have to verify this, Paul. And if I find that these numbers are wrong, or somebody calls you later in the day and says they're wrong, I'm very willing to step back. But my point is, if you're out there listening, hold your wallet right now.
Okay.
So you can really get a feel for what this is.
These numbers don't look good, let me tell you.
Yeah, it says, the Department of Workforce Services, they've captured 16,000 people through working with workforce services that they pulled off of Arkansas Works. So that's 16,500 times $500 a month. And this has been going on for a number of years. That's just in workforce services. People who are receiving benefits in more than one state, 25,700 at $500 a month for a number of years. So these are people that
let's just say 36 months.
36 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold your wallet. So
that's a waste. Joe, do the math on that. $500 a month times 25,742. Here, and then $500 a month times 16,467. And listen for the next number.
These are people that are those are people that they're are doing it in 2 states. And by the way, I spoke to an optician who's from South Arkansas this week, past week, and he said he had a lady come up and wanted glasses. He did all through Arkansas Works, gave the glasses to her. And she said, no, I want contacts. And he said, well, Arkansas Works doesn't cover that. So she says, well, my boyfriend will pay for that. He says, great, come back tomorrow and I'll get him. She says, well, I can't. I live in Louisiana. But I'll stay here overnight to get them.
And she was on Arkansas Works.
She was on Arkansas Works, and
it must be
because
nice.
her mother lives up here, and so they come and visit her mother. But that's what that 25,000 number is.
Okay, Joe. Joe didn't write down quick enough. Joe, you got a pen? You ready?
I think I got them numbered.
You got them. All right, 16,467 people were on it for 36 months, let's say. I mean, or for a long time. And this is a problem that's been going on, times 500. And then you got 25,742.
You want to roll in 36 months?
Just do a year.
Just do a year. Just do 12 months.
1 year?
Yeah, just do 12 months.
So, Joe, that's 6,000 if you need a little help.
And then, okay, go to the next one, Dan.
All right, then establishes a process to sort large volumes of return mail due to people with bad addresses. So now you'd think we wouldn't pay for that. But if you're enrolled, we pay the insurance company first. And then we vet you later. So these people with bad email addresses, you can take, if it takes a few weeks or a few months to vet the people that have bad addresses,
right?
We're still paying that.
Gosh.
And that number is 20,000.
26,000.
I'm sorry, 26,000.
93. So the other number would be 26,093 people.
Yeah,
Okay.
then turn your page over, Paul. There's more in the back.
And this actually says up here earlier, it says from January 1st to January 2018. So I think that's what these numbers are coming
from. And then
from.
it said the next one is identify those on Medicaid now eligible for Medicare. So again, there are people who are switching programs, and while we are paying those people on this program, Arkansas Works, they really should be on Medicare. So the taxpayer's paying for them either way, but you're double paying for them.
Oh gosh.
Federal taxes and state taxes, and that number is 7,200. And again,
got that 7,200, Joe.
Those people are on, and we're trying to vet them post, but we're paying the whole time they're on there. The elimination of individuals incarcerated in the Department of Corrections, people who were on Arkansas Works or Medicaid, and now they're in the Department of Corrections. They would normally fall off.
We're still paying the insurance companies, even though now they're in prison. Oh my gosh.
4,100.
Yeah, 4,100.
And the last category, hope you have your wallet.
They're
working on these people who are have identities over the federal poverty level. So you've on Arkansas Works, you now have a job, and you should come off, but we don't know it.
Okay.
And that's about 700.
Okay.
So that total number, and again, you have to remember once you sign up for Arkansas Works, we're paying the insurance company. Now, if you in the real world, if your insurance company found out about that, your insurance company would say, look, you owe us.
You owe us money. Pay
Send
up.
it back. But we are not, Arkansas Works is not established that way. And I'll give credit to Medicare, to Department of, our DHS. They're working very hard, and they've cut these numbers down. But that's the error that we've had in the past in this program.
Question is, are these doors still open for this to happen again?
Took the words out of my mouth. The door is still open. So we're going to continue to enroll people in all of those categories
and
continue to pay monthly for them. Now, to DHS's credit, and the governor inherited this problem, and the administration inherited this. They've worked hard to cut these numbers down.
Right.
But my issue is you got to close the door.
Yeah.
We would never do a contract with the state, and I heard the Office of Procurement talk the other day in budget, and they talked about all the strict and stringent requirements they have and the clawbacks they have and all the contractual obligations with performance standards and all of this. We don't have that here. And this is the biggest expense we have in the state.
It is, and it's the driver of our spending.
Driver of our spending. but we do not vet at the same level we do with any other contract in the state. If we did, I'm sure people would be losing their jobs.
That's frustrating.
And here we're promoting this, and that's why I have a resolution, and Josh Miller has a bill out there that we to cap or to end enrollment in Arkansas Works. We want to provide, and I think there's nobody in Little Rock that wants to take money away from people that have a serious need, who have problems or struggling, and we need to help them and have that safety net, whatever you want to call that.
They really can't take care of themselves. They're
really
truly needy.
Yeah, but this group here, these are people and you're actually double paying on many of them. You're paying federal taxes on them. They're in 2 states, so you're paying that federal tax dollar, and you're paying an Arkansas tax dollar. And I think this is, I've tried to stay out of other people's campaigns. I'm trying to win mine. I've got a primary opponent.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay out of the
Though the
governor's
healthcare
race.
industry doesn't like that you're pro free market, and you've tried to save money inside the healthcare system. They're upset with that. That's why the governor, in my opinion, is involved in finding you an opponent, and so you have one. So
well, I think I think it's more than just one person. I think there's a whole industry that's interested in that.
Correct.
Doesn't just come from one office or one person. There's a whole industry that has a vested interest in getting that money to Little Rock so they can take it out of Little Rock back to their programs. And I think both sides are fine for people that really have a need. Here, what we've just demonstrated, there's a bunch of people that don't, that we're double paying, and we need to stop that. The only way to do that is to end that program and reestablish a new baseline that is equitable and fair.
And you guys can do this in the fiscal session too. I mean, you really can. But people got to be willing to step up and do it. It's common sense. Senator Brian King had a proposal the other day that failed. We're going to talk to Charlotte Douglas on Monday about this because she was there and made the motion to pass, and it failed. And when you look at the numbers that we would have saved, we're paying $570 a month now for these people. And if you put them in traditional Medicaid, you still get the 90-10 match. Because it's just like we would have done regular expansion, and you'd be paying probably $270 a person, and it's a healthier population, and the amount of money it would have saved is gargantuan. And they said no, and the governor even attacked Brian King on
and
that.
these are people that live in 2 states. They're people that are in prison. There are people that would qualify out of the program. And I think the key question for anyone running in a Republican primary, is, do you favor closing the door, or do you favor leaving the door open?
Yeah.
And their response for some is going to be, well, the door's not open that wide.
Yeah, well, it is. Joe, what are our numbers here? A 1-year calculation, what's our total figure? All these people that were on the program that weren't supposed to be, how much money did that cost us?
Okay, so we're operating off of $500 a person, correct? Okay.
A month.
Okay, so yes. So for $500 a month for 12 months, for each one of these people, or for everybody, it's sum total of approximately $481,812,000.
Yeah.
And I added up the number of people that you get, the population gave me. It's 80,302 people.
Wow.
That's assuming there is no overlap between any of these areas.
Right.
And, the key is they've taken these people off. So when people come to us and say, well, I'm saving you money, you got to go, well, wait a minute. This has been going on for years, and we've wasted this money. And you're telling, and because we had the door open, we got to close the door.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So they've taken them off. They want, like you said, they've done this. I personally I think that they've done it because it's a primary election, and now we're going to get serious about it. But the doors are still open for people to continue to do this, and that's the problem. And that's why your proposal to end enrollment, so we have a knowable number, let's shut this thing down, is the responsible approach.
For a Republican, conservative Republican, absolutely.
State Representative Dan Sullivan, thanks for this data. This is breaking news. This is really, really good. Folks, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be back at the bottom of the hour. We're talking with Mr. Bob Bailey. Stay tuned.